Hello teachers and welcome to 2016 Impact Aid Form. These will be distributed to your students on October 31st and they need to be returned by November 2nd. These are important forms because they do help fund from the federal government. They do help fund public schools in Fairfax County. So a couple things to remind yourself before we even start and to talk to the students. One of the most important things is the student is not to touch the form at all. It is to be completed by the parents. Also, please remind the students that these are due by November 2nd. If parents have any questions, they can contact the school, and also there will be a video available for them on the Chantilly website. So another thing to remind students is this is a federal form, so they will only accept it in blue or black ink only. No pencil, no green, no pink. So please, when the parents are signing, please make sure they are using blue or black ink only. All right, so what do I need to remind my students? The first part of the Impact Aid form, the student information, that will be already filled out for you. So there are a couple scenarios. Let's start with the easiest one and let's move to the hardest. The easiest one is if you have a parent, if the parents do not work on federal property. All parents do, tell the students, if your parents are not working on federal property and they are civilians, so they are a non-government worker, section 1 is already filled out. They check section 6, they check that, and then they sign, and then they date. Please make sure that it is dated October 31st or 2016 or beyond. That's the easiest. Let's move up to the next one. So the students bring back the form and you find out that the parent is in the military. If the parent is in the military, again, remember section 1 is already filled out. Section 2 would be filled out by the parent if they are in the uniformed service and they put their branch of service. And then they would come down and then they would sign and date, again, October 31st, 2016 or later. One of the only differences, if they are active National Guard or Reserve, they need to bring in a copy of their activation orders. That's number 2. Number 3, if they are in the military but they are a foreign military, so they are not in the U.S. military but some other countries, one is pre-populated, and then you come down to number 3, and number 3, this is where foreign military would fill it in, and then you come down and they sign and date the form. Now, section 4 is for the parents who work on federal property, but we're going to hold off on the CIA. So if parents work on if parents are a employee of the federal government, so we see parent or guardian is employment information, they are civilian working on federal property. What they do is they fill out this section. And what that means is what we need, it doesn't get completely filled out. What they're going to do is they're going to put their last name, their first name, their middle initial, okay, and their employer name. And then they are going to come down here and they are going to check off which agency they work for. Every agency except the CIA, which at Langley, it gets a little bit different. So let's review. Civilian working on federal property, they write their first and last name, they fill in their employer name, then they go to section 5 and they check the address. Okay, we will go with the CIA on a separate CIA is a little bit different because they are the CIA. After the parent has checked where they work, they come down, they sign, date after October 11th. Now, what if they are a CIA employee? CIA employee is going to follow the same pre-populated number 1. When you get to number 4, they are going to fill out, this is an example of a CIA form. They are going to fill out their last name, their first name, their middle initial, their employer's name. Then they're going to come down if they work and they're going to check they're going to check down at CIA. Then what they are going to do, this is where it is a little different. So you have one of these 4 addresses and it has to be written in the employee and federal property address. So if we look at the impact aid, my federal property name is the Langley campus, but then I am putting the address not once, but twice. Students whose parents work for the CIA, teachers, when you hand out the form, you're going to ask your students, do I have any parents who work for the CIA? If their parents work for the CIA, you are going to give them a half sheet of paper that is going to have these instructions. So they will have that in addition. And then what will also be on that form is a YouTube video for the parents also so they can see. But that is the big thing with that form. And then the parents come down, they sign date after October 31st. Okay? One of the things when you collect them, please make sure that there is an appropriate, the date is October 31st and beyond. If it's October 30th, you cannot correct it. It has to be redone. Also, the forms will have a barcode on them. Please make sure they have a barcode. Lastly, we can accept only no faxed or emailed forms. We can only accept the original form with a barcode on it. If the student has lost the form, you will need to go, you can send the student or yourself before school and pick up another copy of the student and parent survey. These are all due by these will be due as soon as possible. Remember, emphasize to the kids November 2nd. If you're using Remind, send out reminds, reminding the student to bring them back November 2nd, maybe a Blackboard announcement, something to remind. Also, if you have not received a form in by November 4th, you need to email or phone and those parents, and you need to document all calls that you've made to those parents. So with that, enjoy Federal Impact Federal Aid Form Week.